Have you ever seen something that wasn't really there? Or heard something that sounded completely different from what others heard? Maybe you've even felt time slow down in a moment of crisis. Well, these are all examples of illusions, tricks played on us by our own brains. Our minds process an overwhelming amount of information every second, and sometimes they take shortcuts. These shortcuts are usually helpful, but sometimes they lead to misinterpretations of reality. And that's where illusions come in. Today, we're diving deep into the science behind everyday illusions, from optical tricks that fool your eyes to auditory illusions, and even the ways your brain manipulates time. Let's uncover why our senses don't always tell the truth. Let's get started with optical illusions, one of the most common and mind-blowing types that we see today. These occur when your brain misinterprets visual information, leading you to see things that aren't actually there. A perfect example is the Müller-Lyer illusion. Take a look at these two lines. Which one looks longer? Most people say the second one, but the truth is, they're identical. So, why does this happen? The key lies in depth perception and learned experiences. Our brains are trained to interpret depth based on cues from the world around us. The arrow shapes trick your brain into thinking the lines are at different distances, much like the corners of a room. Another famous one is the spinning dancer illusion. If you stare at the silhouette of a dancer spinning, you might see her rotating clockwise. But suddenly, bam, she switches directions. What's happening here? This illusion is all about ambiguous depth cues. The silhouette has no depth information, so your brain has to make a guess about which way she's spinning. And guess what? Your brain can change its mind at any moment. Other illusions, like the checker shadow illusion, play with brightness and contrast. In this illusion, two squares look like they're different shades, one in the light, one in the shadow. But when you check their actual color, they're the same. Your brain compensates for the shadow and adjusts the brightness in your mind, making the colors appear different. Key takeaway: your eyes don't actually see the world accurately, they just collect information. Your brain is the one making sense of it, and sometimes it makes mistakes. You've probably heard of Yanny versus Laurel, the viral audio clip that divided the internet. Some people swear they hear Yanny, while others hear Laurel. But how can two people hear completely different things from the same sound? This is due to a phenomenon called frequency ambiguity. The human brain interprets sound based on the frequencies it picks up, and different people process frequencies differently. Some hear more high frequencies, which make Yanny stand out, while others hear lower ones, which emphasize Laurel. Another mind-bending auditory illusion is the shepherd tone. This is a sound that seems like it's rising endlessly in pitch, yet it never actually gets higher. It's like an audio version of a never-ending staircase. Here's how it works. The shepherd tone is made up of multiple tones playing at different octaves. As one fades out, another fades in, seamlessly looping in a way that convinces your brain the pitch is always increasing. This illusion is often used in movies and video games to create tension. Think of that eerie, rising sound in Inception. And then there's the McGurk effect. This one is wild. If you watch a video of someone saying ba, but the video is edited so their lips are saying fa, you'll actually hear fa instead of ba, even though the audio hasn't changed. This proves that our visual and auditory senses work together. Your brain trusts what it sees more than what it hears, so if the lip movements don't match the sound, your brain overrides the audio to fit the visual input. Key takeaway: your ears don't always tell the truth. Your brain fills in gaps and even lets your eyes influence what you hear. Have you ever stared at a pattern and felt like it was moving, even though it's completely still? This phenomenon is called a motion illusion, and it happens because of the way your brain processes visual information. One of the most famous examples is the rotating snakes illusion, a still image with swirling patterns that seem to move before your eyes. This effect is caused by tiny, involuntary eye movements called saccades. Your brain tries to make sense of the high contrast patterns, but because your eyes are constantly shifting, it mistakenly perceives motion where there is none. Another mind-bending example is the phi phenomenon, which explains why we see motion in movies and animations. In reality, films are made up of thousands of still images played in rapid succession. But instead of seeing separate frames, our brains fill in the gaps, creating the illusion of smooth motion. These illusions highlight how our brains prioritize efficiency over accuracy. By making quick assumptions, we can process movement in real time, But sometimes this leads to surprising visual tricks. Key takeaway: your brain is wired to detect movement, and sometimes it sees motion where there is none. Finally, let's talk about time perception. Have you ever been in an accident or a high adrenaline situation and felt like time slowed down? That's called tachypsychia, and it happens because your brain speeds up its processing. You're taking in more details than usual, so time feels like it's moving slower. On the flip side, when you're having fun, time flies. This is because your brain isn't storing as much detail, making the experience seem shorter in retrospect. And get this, scientists have even discovered that your brain predicts the future. Your mind is always anticipating what's about to happen a fraction of a second before it actually does, so you experience the world in a smooth, continuous way instead of as a lagging series of events. Key takeaway: time isn't as fixed as we think. Our perception of it is flexible and shaped by our experiences. So, what did we learn today? Optical illusions prove that your brain interprets what your eyes see, not the other way around. Auditory illusions show that what you hear isn't always real. It's influenced by how your brain processes sound. Motion illusions reveal that your brain constantly looks for patterns, sometimes seeing movement where there is none. Time illusions demonstrate that your brain controls how fast or slow you experience the world. And lastly, illusions remind us that reality isn't always as it seems. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more mind-blowing content, and drop a comment below. What's the weirdest illusion you've ever experienced? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.